Catus, Maximus here. This is a quick review of the Diablo Speed Demon Spade bits. These are the same as the Bosch speed bores. They're just painted red. Come out of the very same factory. And what I noticed is obviously Home Depot has had some issues with Bosch. They got some kind of dispute going on because I noticed they just wiped out all the Bosch rotary hammer bits. All the Bosch spade bits are all just gone off the shelves in a pile in the discount section, which is kind of a shame because I like the Bosch sets better because none of these Diablo ones, the sets don't seem to be, you know, they don't have, even in the bigger sets, they don't have the pouches and that type of stuff. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but I did want to review these because this was just a $10 set and just wanted to point out that they are the same as the Bosches. Let's pull them out of this packaging here. Got that cut open here. So they just are just loose in this packaging. Anyway, I guess one of the things that I did like about these is that they do roll stamp the sizes on the bits, so that makes it a bit easier to identify, especially after they get used. Although you have to use them quite a bit to blade all the paint off. They are a bit difficult to sharpen, as you can see, because of this geometry. But this is pretty much one of the most modern designs and aggressive of spade bits because they are self-feeding. And then what they do is they have two teeth which kind of pre-cut the wood. And then as it goes in, this lower portion sweeps out and it has a nice curve. So it actually has a relief angle. So it sweeps out the wood. And then they have this little step here, which kind of, you can see this little step is actually higher up than either of these cutting edges. And so that kind of acts as a sizing, or they actually finish cutting the wall. So it actually makes a pretty decent finish. So the Diablo ones do perform exactly the same as the Bosches. Not exactly sure why Home Depot switched up. A little quirk of these, which is a bit annoying, is all these bits. So we have a little 3/8 bit here, max RPM 1500. We have a 1-inch bit, which is obviously almost triple the width of a 3/8 bit, and it is max RPM 1500. So that's not entirely accurate. You would run this one much faster than you would run one that's much wider. And really, as I look much more closely at the tips of these and like the grinding, it just seems that there's like some pretty big burrs on them. It actually seems like these are the same as the Bosches. It just seems that they are lower on the quality control. So that probably explains why Home Depot switched up, because they're basically getting these for cheaper than the Bosch ones, which just have a same product. Just when they get them from the factory, Bosch says that they have to meet certain quality control standards, which apparently are higher than Diablo's. And it is to be expected. Bosch really does try to uphold their name. That always used to be the deal with Bosch, is if the product had a Bosch name on it, then it was something that you could bank on, kind of like a Milwaukee power tool or something like that. Anyway, let's go and take this 1-inch bit here and just drill a couple holes with it and take a look at the holes. All right, here we are, and just for an experiment, since this is a 3-speed drill, 450 RPM, 1300 and 2000 in non-drill mode. It runs a little faster in hammer drill mode, but we'll do it in standard mode. We'll just see how the finish is at those 3 speeds. So I'm going to do it at those 3. We're going to do slow, medium, and then too fast. I'm going to drill all the way through. Now for 1300. And 2000 RPM. And a lot of people ask about the even newer generation of the DeWalt's and the even newer Milwaukee's. Really, I think that in the last few years, they've really kind of hit the I wouldn't say limits, because you can obviously put bigger and bigger motors, but usability. These modern brushless drills made in the last few years, pretty much any of them are going to have all the power anybody really needs. I mean, it's pretty amazing. They really are a replacement for a lot of corded tools like this. I mean, so many cordless drills of years past can never run a 1-inch spade bit at 2000 RPM. but this has no problem. So after doing that one cut, there must be some kind of material defect. I'm going to definitely recommend against anybody buying these. Not only is the grind really pretty rough on these, I just drilled that one hole with this brand new bit, and we can see now on these corners here, see how it's rounded? It's just totally dull. That was literally I drilled through 6 inches of Douglas fir, and I already dulled these tips. Never had that experience with the Bosches. I mean, these are super dull. I mean, these should be razor sharp, and it just is crazy. It just totally ablated those tips off. Glad I only paid 10 bucks, but still, I feel like I was ripped off. Let's take a quick look at the finish of these holes anyway. There's and I should get a little bit of zoom in here and probably a flashlight. Here's the low speed hole. Did have a little bit of extra tearing from that real slow turning, but it's okay. And you can see where when it goes with the grain in a ripping fashion, or in the portion where it is ripping means going with the grain, it's smoother than when it's cross-cutting, where the bit comes around and is going perpendicular to the grain. So we can see that there is some more tearing. It's pretty bad. At 1200 RPM, the tearing is a little bit better. It's really not too bad at all. Or 1300 RPM, that seems pretty optimal. And the high speed at 2000 really is slightly improved even more. It's actually, the bore is actually really smooth right around the portion where it's going parallel to the grain. So anyway, that was my quick review of the Diablo Speed Demon bits, and they are indeed cheap versions of they're just cheaper versions of the Bosch, or Bosch Daredevils, excuse me. And but I wouldn't recommend them. I mean, when you have bits that are just this bad and just dull on the first cut, it really does a disrespect to Diablo's name. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody who's been watching and subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. Until next time, Catus Maximus out.